Imagine receiving a verified message from the future stating that you are going to cause a massive, tragic accident. Panicked, you abandon your home, cut ties with everyone you know, and flee to the other side of the world to ensure it never happens. But years later, a random series of events in your new life perfectly aligns, and you realize that the exact steps you took to avoid the disaster are what actually caused it. This is the core concept of a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it is the exact plot of one of the oldest, most famous, and most disturbing stories in human history. Today on The More You Know Daily, we are breaking down the ancient Greek myth of Oedipus. It is a brilliant, psychological thriller written over 2,000 years ago that explores the terrifying idea of fighting against an inescapable fate. The story begins in the ancient Greek city of Thebes with King Laius and Queen Jocasta. Like many rulers, they consult an oracle, a priestess believed to speak for the gods, to ask about their future. The oracle delivers a horrifying warning. Their newborn son will one day kill his father and marry his mother. Horrified, the king and queen try to cheat destiny. They decide to get rid of the baby. They give him to a servant with orders to abandon him on a wild mountain to die of exposure. To make the concept radically simple, they believed that if they eliminated the variable, they could delete the outcome. But in Greek mythology, the universe always balances its equations. The servant couldn't bring himself to let the baby die. He secretly gives the child to a shepherd from another city, Corinth. The baby, named Oedipus, ends up being adopted by the king and queen of Corinth, who raise him as their own without ever telling him he is adopted. When Oedipus grows up, he visits the oracle himself and hears the exact same horrifying prophecy. He will kill his father and marry his mother. Because he believes the king and queen of Corinth are his biological parents, he is terrified. To protect the people he loves, he makes a noble sacrifice. He runs away from home, vowing never to return. Completely unaware that by running away from his fake parents, he is running directly toward his real ones. While wandering in exile, Oedipus comes to a narrow intersection where three roads meet. He encounters an older, wealthy man in a chariot. Neither man wants to yield the right of way. An argument breaks out, the older man becomes violent, and Oedipus fights back. In a fit of rage, Oedipus strikes the man down and kills him, then simply continues on his journey. He doesn't know it, but the man in the chariot was King Laius of Thebes. By trying to avoid the prophecy, Oedipus has just unknowingly completed the first half of it. Oedipus eventually arrives at the city of Thebes, only to find it terrorized by a monster called the Sphinx. The Sphinx refuses to let anyone enter or leave unless they can solve a complex riddle. If they fail, she kills them. Oedipus, being incredibly sharp, solves the riddle effortlessly. Defeated, the Sphinx destroys herself, and the city is saved. The people of Thebes are so grateful to this heroic stranger that they immediately make him their new king. And as tradition dictates, the new king must marry the recently widowed queen of the city. Oedipus marries Queen Jocasta. The second half of the prophecy is complete. Years pass. Oedipus and Jocasta rule together and have children, but then a devastating plague strikes the city. The oracle declares that the plague is a punishment from the gods because the murder of the previous king, Laius, was never solved. Oedipus, acting as a dedicated leader, launches a massive investigation. He brings in witnesses and interrogates servants. He operates exactly like a modern detective trying to crack a cold case. But the deeper he digs, the more the pieces align. The surviving witness to the crossroads incident is brought in, along with the old shepherd who was supposed to leave the baby on the mountain. In a horrifying moment of realization, the evidence confirms the impossible truth. The killer Oedipus is hunting is himself. This story ends in absolute ruin. Jocasta takes her own life, and Oedipus, unable to bear the sight of the world he has corrupted, blinds himself and goes into exile once again. The story of Oedipus has survived for millennia because it tackles a terrifying question. How much control do we actually have over our own lives? The ancient Greeks used this myth to explore the tension between human free will and an indifferent universe. Every choice Oedipus made was logical, protective, and well-intentioned. yet every choice was a perfectly laid brick on the path to his own destruction. It serves as a stark reminder that while we can control our actions, we can never fully control the consequences. Thank you for watching the More You Know Daily. We will see you in the next video.